We appreciate your time.
Thank
I
you,
know
Raj.
you don't do these often. Why now? Why decide to jump into this?
Yeah, I would do more if people wanted to hear more from me. I'm happy to talk and share what's going on at PG&E. We've got a really good story to tell, and I'm happy to be here to do that.
What do you think the perception of PG&E is?
Oh, we know that the perception has been challenged. You know, I think the company is on a path to rebuild trust with the people that we serve. And in fact, our theme for this year is trustworthy. We know that we need to earn the trust of our families, our friends, our neighbors that we serve, who are our customers. We have to earn that trust every day.
What's your biggest challenge as CEO?
I think the biggest challenge at PG&E has evolved over time. When I first arrived here 3 years ago, wildfire risk was our greatest risk for the citizens, for the state of California, for our customers, and we needed to make it safe and make it right, given the damage that had been done. And now I'm excited to be focused on the future and what we can do to enable the clean energy transition in California. I consider myself a climate optimist. I believe that our path forward is bright. And so I think that's our biggest opportunity to truly help people engage in and participate in the clean energy transition.
Well, since 2019, rates have gone up essentially double, more than 100, or about 100% since 2019. 22% just last year alone. PG&E literally is bringing a lot of families to tears. How can you justify this?
Yeah, I think it's really important, number one, that our customers know that we are doing our most current increases are based on some catch-up cost recoveries that was necessary work to make our system safe. We also know that bills can come down, and that's what we're working on. We see a path forward where prices can start to fall, and that will be driven by modernizing the methods of our work and rethinking mandates that exist in the state. 31% of our bill is driven by state mandates. I think it's time to rethink some of those.
Do you feel what families are going through? You say you hear them, but 100% increase in 5 years, that's really hard for people.
Yes, and we know that we have an obligation to make sure that the work that we're doing is both necessary and it's done well, which is a big area of focus for us. I don't want people to be afraid of their infrastructure. We need to make sure that our energy system is safe, and that does cost something. The good news is we see a light at the end of the tunnel. We see these catch-up costs and some of these annual recurring expenses coming off the bill ultimately. And we want to change the way that work happens, which is why we are modernizing our methods. It is why we have implemented a lean operating system at PG&E. There's a big transformation underway and well underway on how we do work. We've reduced 94% of the wildfire risk on our system. That wildfire risk definitely cost the state of California and cost many people. We now can rethink and use technology, more modern methods, reimagine how that work gets done so we can save customers dollars.
As someone just at home watching right now, PG&E made more than $2 billion in profits last year. Where's that money going?
Right back into the system, right back into the system. You know, most utilities pay a dividend. We have not paid a dividend. So when we make profits, we put that back into the system. So we, for the last several years, have taken all of the profits and put it back into investments for customers. Now, we have just reinitiated that dividend, and I would like to think that profits is not a bad word for a utility. A utility needs to attract capital so that we can spread out the costs for customers over time. When we are able to attract low-cost capital, we can save customers money. So a financially healthy PG&E actually enables lower costs for customers.
You talk about returning those profits back in for investments here. There are plenty of analysts that say what you're doing is very expensive, and you know this, undergrounding the power lines. They say you could actually insulate the power lines at a much cheaper rate, therefore saving people money. Why not go the less expensive rate, which is also effective, and save people money?
It's a great question. Insulating lines in our highest dense or our highest vegetation dense areas, which are our highest fire risk areas, leaves 35% of the risk still on the system. I don't know about you, but I don't want to live in a place where I have 35% risk of a wildfire. Undergrounding, actually, when you combine that with the overhead, when you compare undergrounding power lines to overhead lines with covered conductor and all the vegetation management that goes with it, it is less expensive to bury the lines.
When someone's watching this, they're not hearing lower price. They just look at their monthly bill and see it's a 100% increase. How do you communicate that?
We need to rethink some of the mandates. We have mandates today on vegetation management. And vegetation management has been and was originally the best form of risk mitigation we could do. We have new modern ways that are more effective and lower cost. We've implemented something called enhanced power line safety settings. It's a huge driver in our 94% wildfire risk reduction performance. We are continuing, however, to be mandated to do more vegetation management, even though our technology is more effective. And so we think it's time to rethink those mandates.
You're making some key decisions for everyday families here.
Yes.
Under your watch, is PG&E mismanaged, or has it been?
I think it's really important for me to help your viewers know that there has been a significant change at PG&E. This is not the PG&E of the past. This is a new PG&E. We have a new leadership team. We have a new leadership model. We've delivered real improvements at the company, and we have made significant progress in wildfire risk reduction, in greenhouse gas-free energy delivery, in performance for customers, reliability. We've got projects that we're doing in the Bay Area that are making a difference for reliability and funding growth and prosperity. There's a new story to be told about PG&E. I'm thankful that I'm here to be able to help tell that story. I want your viewers to know, Raj, that it is a new era at PG&E, and our progress, we're going to continue to show our progress so your viewers know that they can count on and trust the people of PG&E to get up every day to serve them well.
Appreciate the optimism there, but there's still actual facts that there's been mismanagement under your watch. A lot of examples. The Mule Fire in 2021, under you, I believe. PG&E admitted your contracted crew had an inadequate response. The Dixie Fire in 2021, that was the big one. Most destructive fire in state history. A tree fell on a line starting this fire. Regulators say PG&E's response was inadequate. You talk about things are getting better, and we appreciate that. But when these mistakes happen, why do the ratepayers have to pay?
Yeah, when the Dixie Fire occurred, I was 6 months on the job, and it was a green tree that fell on our normally operating line. We had a co-worker who took valiant efforts to attempt to put out that fire by himself in the Feather River Canyon. I don't know if you've ever been there, but I went there to see exactly where and how that happened. We have, since that time, innovated and implemented new technologies that would prevent that from ever happening again. I think what's most important is people are willing to learn, and people can learn, and PG&E is making real progress as we continue to learn about the hazards that our new extreme weather conditions create for all of us. We all have a lot to learn about reimagining the right kind of infrastructure to keep people safe and energized.
You talk about vegetation management. There was a more recent audit, I believe from the Office of Energy Infrastructure, that PG&E mismanaged or is mismanaging the vegetation management. That's recent stuff.
I think we can definitely agree that there's some additional modernization we need to do in how vegetation management is done and how much of it we're doing. That it was the only tool in the toolkit, and under pressure, of course, people are going to expect us to use the one thing we understood, that you can take out trees, but we're not going to take out every tree in California. We spend $1.8 billion a year on vegetation management. That is 3 times what we traditionally have spent, and it is the largest vegetation management program in the nation. We are doing too much vegetation management. There is a right-sized amount of vegetation management that we should be doing, it's time for us to rethink those standards and those mandates.
You get the disconnect here for people just paying the high bills, seeing the mistakes, and companies make mistakes. But why do we, the ratepayers, keep getting penalized? I think that's just kind of a general sense for PG&E customers.
Yeah, I think it's really important for our customers to know that the work that we are doing, where their dollars are going, is important and necessary work, and yet we are challenging every dollar of it. In fact, last year alone, we did new technologies to do inspections, and in fact, we're carrying those through to this year, and combining work. One of the things that PG&E has always been good at engineering equipment, but not necessarily engineering how we do the work. We're redoing how we do the work, and we're saving customers dollars by doing that. Let me give you some examples.
But hold on, I have to jump in. You say you're saving customers dollars. I don't see it. We don't see it. For the last 5 years, our rates have gone up double, 100%. And I get it, in 10 years from now, perhaps that's the truth. But right now, no one's saving any money. In fact, it's costing us more.
I think what customers can't see is all of the cost savings that we are putting into the system while we are rebuilding it.
When do we benefit from that?
We are forecasting prices falling in 25 and again in 2026.
So that's 25 is next year, 2026 is 2 years from now.
That is exactly what we're working on.
So we've gone up 100% in the last 5 years. So in the next 3 to 5 years, will we go down 100%, 20%, 50%?
We're working on forecasting what those reductions are going to be, but we're going to drive those reductions. We need some work. We need to work with the state on some of these mandates. Over 30% of our bill is state mandated work. Those are new mandates that we are putting into place, and following our regulators' direction, we need to rethink some of those mandates. And we're very interested in working with the state to rethink those mandates, while at the same time, we are doing more work for customers, the right work for customers that we needed to do and maybe we should have been doing before. We are doing that work now that's necessary to have a clean and resilient energy system of the future that is also safe for the citizens of California.
Is there at any point in your power you can say, I'm the CEO, I want to put a stop to this madness for everyone here and freeze our rates or roll it back substantially?
What is my top priority is making sure our system's safe, Raj. I don't want people to forget what happened. We have an obligation to have a system that is safe and resilient, and that takes investment. We're going to make those necessary investments, and at the same time, I want people to know and learn that they can trust that we are making progress that will reduce prices in time. But first and foremost, and it will always be my number one, and I cannot apologize for putting the safety and well-being of the citizens of California first.
You brought up trust, which is a big issue. PG&E, it's hard to trust from years prior to your arrival. Also, $2 billion in profit. How do you sell trust to people when you have to deal with something like this?
I think something to remember about profits for a company like PG&E is, number one, because we have not been paying a dividend, those profits go back into the system. But number two, the people who invest in PG&E are pension funds, retirees, police, teachers, firefighters. Pension funds are our shareholders. That's who invests in PG&E. When they hand over their life savings to us, we use their life savings to invest in the infrastructure so customers don't have to pay for it all up front. We pay for it over time. Those shareholders, the pensioners, the retirees, deserve a return on their asset. They are investing in California. I don't object to a model where customers win and investors win. I don't think there has to be a trade-off. I think we need to shift the narrative that profits automatically equal bad. Profits are a necessary part of building the infrastructure for a system that is safe and resilient and clean for the citizens of California.
That's a fair point. And this is for any CEO. The balance, a delicate balance. Who do you answer to, the investors or the customers?
You don't have to choose. There is no sucker's choice that it's customers or investors. When we do the right work and we do make the system safe for our customers. That then serves investors. Investors want us to be safe and they want us to be affordable. We're not profit maximizers. We have prices that are regulated and transparent and go through legal processes by regulators here in the state, and a lot of interested parties can intervene in those procedures. We have the opportunity to both serve customers and investors, and that's good for California. Investors have built the state of California. It's their capital that fuels our prosperity and our progress.
PG&E has made you a very rich woman. Your compensation this year, last year I believe 17 million, the year before that 14 million, before that 51 million. That's what, 28 to 30 million on average per year in compensation. Is there an optics issue there? The CEO and the company is making so much, yet we're all stuck with these high bills?
Yeah, a couple things to know about compensation. Number one, it's market-based. I was the CEO of another company, and so when I came to PG&E, I was made whole for compensation I had received but would be forfeiting. That was my first year true up, if you will. And now my compensation is 90% at risk. My compensation depends 100% on the success and well-being of the company. And when I say at risk, it's based on our safety performance, it's based on our wildfire risk reduction performance, it's based on customer satisfaction and reliability and financial performance, because that's what a well-run company is measured against. And so I'm on par with peers across the nation, and I actually think for the citizens of California to have the top leadership talent, the team that I hired when I came here are the top industry leaders from across the country. We all came here to California to make a difference because we knew how essential PG&E is to the clean energy transition and how essential California is to helping model for the world what a clean energy system can look like. We all left good jobs to come here to be part of the solution. And in time, I think our customers will see that it was worth the investment because we've made the right changes and will continue to make more and more progress to the benefit of the citizens of California.
You talk about in time, again, is that a next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And is there any guarantee that our rates would stabilize or even come down?
We are working on reducing prices in 2025 and 2026. I think there's an exciting future in energy. As we grow demand for electricity, we can lower the unit cost of energy with new and better technologies and load management that we've never been able to do before. But we have to start by having a safe and resilient grid to fuel the progress of that clean energy transition. And I can't wait over the coming years to share our progress with you, share the stories so that people can know that the PG&E today is not the PG&E of yesterday, and it's a PG&E that they can be proud of to call their own.
When can we be proud of this PG&E?
We've made progress already, and I think it's time to tell that story. A 94% reduction in wildfire risk is dramatic improvement. States are now coming to us to learn how we did it and how did we do it so fast. And so we are making progress. There are the way that we're improving the work and the way that we do our work, the way that we have reduced costs by using technology, and what customers are feeling in their bill today is the amount of vegetation management that we are trying to do. We need to reduce that and invest in the infrastructure so customers' bills are more affordable.
If you're sitting in the living room right now of a typical Bay Area family who a few years ago was paying, we'll say, $200 for PG&E, now it's doubled to $400. What do you tell them? You can tell them what you told me, and it sounds great in a boardroom perhaps, or 5 years down the road, but what can you tell them right now in their living room?
I can tell them that every single day, the people of PG&E, their friends, their families, their neighbors, are getting up to modernize our methods. We're working to rethink these mandates and bring them the most affordable, cleanest, and safest energy. They deserve that, and we can deliver that, and we have made progress. We will continue to make more.
And as CEO, could you also tell them we will freeze your rates for the next 2 or 3 years?
We can't freeze the rates when we have to make this investment in the infrastructure. People don't want me to make short-term decisions that put people at risk. That's what PG&E was criticized for. We are not doing that. We are building the infrastructure that will keep people safe and will deliver the clean energy transition.
Is there a warning as we head into the summer as CEO to all your customers for PG&E that our bills might be spiking just due to the summer months?
Well, summer always drives customers' usage, and when you use more energy, of course, you're going to pay more for that energy. So
what if I'm using the same amount of air conditioning or whatever that I was using last summer? Am I going to see a big spike in my bill?
It will be higher than last year because of the new rate design, yes.
Substantially higher?
It will depend on your household and your usage and your patterns. But I will offer that we have programs to help customers make sure they've got the right energy efficiency, make sure they have that smart thermostat so they're not using energy at the most expensive times, getting the rates right. There's a lot of things that we can do with customers to help them minimize the impact of hotter weather.
Just in the short term of the next few months, what's the biggest challenge for you?
I think making sure that we find ways to make our bills more affordable is a top priority, and making sure that we're not missing the moment to be ready for the clean energy transition. A financially healthy PG&E is essential to that. That can enable us to serve our customers better and deliver an energy system that heals our planet. And I don't know about you, Raj, but getting up every day knowing that my job is to enable healing our planet and creating an ecosystem that serves our children and our grandchildren, that motivates me.
As we wrap it up here, you talk about, as a leader, you're trying to find ways to reduce costs. You are at the top of the food chain at PG&E, so people look to you as, what are those answers right now, in the next several months or the next couple of years? Instead of kind of these big broad strokes, what can we do now to lead our bills to go lower or stabilize?
That kind of progress is happening every day at PG&E. That's how I can be confident to say we will see prices drop, because we are rethinking and modernizing all of our methods. At the same time, today, we need to be in Sacramento working with our legislature to rethink some of these mandates, to rethink some of our former policies that are not serving us. They served us at one time. They're not serving us now, and they're costing customers too much. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'll come back anytime, Raj.